back to the channel, my wonderful people. Hope you're doing fantastic out there in this crazy place that we call planet Earth. So today I'm going to talk about a bit of a controversial topic, but one that I feel we need to address, especially in the quote-unquote spiritual community. Before I get into it, guys, if you're new around here, please consider liking the video, subscribing, commenting. All that stuff helps trigger the YouTube algorithms, helps me out, helps share these messages. So, without further ado, what I want to speak about is the feminization of men, but particularly when it comes to the spiritual and New Age communities. And again, like most of my work and most of my content is probably going to trigger quite a lot of people, but that's what we need to do. We need to be questioning everything. There is undoubtedly an agenda to feminize men. This has been going on for years. It goes on through media in terms of TV programs. It's going on physically in terms of the stuff that is put in our food. The fact that most food contains the female hormone estrogen. Alcohol contains estrogen. So it's quite ironic that you have all these guys hanging out at the bar, you know, being all blokey, but at the same time they're feminizing themselves through alcohol. It's a subject that not many people talk about, but it's going on. And they need men to stand down. They need men weak. Testosterone is at an all-time low across the board. And I've traveled a lot in my life. I've been very fortunate to travel to many different places, many different cultures. I've lived in Asia, now I live in Central America. I'm from Europe, and it's one thing that I've noticed a lot. I've noticed that there are a lot of basically feminized men, and we see this firsthand with basically what's going on and the lack of action, the lack of men willing to speak up. I have it myself with people, you know, I get inboxes and emails from men saying, oh, you know, it's good what you're doing and I couldn't do it and all of this stuff. And, you know, that's not really embodying masculine energy, really. But it seems to be a worldwide problem where men are progressively getting more and more feminized. You speak to women and they will definitely say this, that they will tell you it's hard to find a man or a man that acts like a man. And so relationships are also becoming very problematic. And this works both ways, by the way, because feminism has done an awful job on women, masculizing, is that even a word? Masculating women, taking that feminine energy out of them. They've been told they don't need a man, and I'm a boss bitch, and they're coming out with this horrible masculine energy. So it's both sides of the coin. The men are being targeted and the females are being targeted. And so what it's doing is it's causing a confusion between the sexes. And it's actually, in actual fact, creating a war between the sexes. The biggest divide right now on this planet is the divide between men and women. And so their whole gig is to make men weak so they will stand down and they will continue to rape, pillage, corrupt, just basically run amok on this planet. Because if you have got the men standing down and in a feminine energy, then you've got carte blanche to do what you want in this world. And we see it firsthand. You know, men are not standing up. They're not, I mean, not all men, please. You know, I don't want to I don't want to generalize, but a lot of men aren't. They're more interested in if their favourite football team wins. You know, don't get me wrong, I like the odd football game, but I'm not invested to the point where it will ruin my entire week like it does with some. So we need to realise what is going on, and the thing in the New Age which annoys me is they will tell that they are promoting the idea that if you're a man that you need to embody your feminine side, right? This is and again, this will trigger a lot of especially the New Age spiritual people, that they're telling men that they need to embody their feminine, right? So they kind of need to be a mix. I absolutely disagree. I think that, as I've already talked about before in this video, there's already a problem with men being too feminine. So the last thing that men need to be is embodying our feminine essence. That's for the females to do, right? This is the world runs in a very symbiotic way in terms of the men are in the masculine, the men are the providers, the action takers, etc., etc. The females are the nurturers, they're the creative aspect, they're the love, they're the caregivers, and then you mesh these two together and you have a beautiful synergy, right? You don't have men that are doing the female stuff and females that are doing the male stuff. That's when there's a distortion, and that distortion ripples through society, it ripples through communities, and it causes a schism. In everything, and it causes a schism in the relationships between men and women. But the idea, as I said, is that they get the men to stand down, to be weak, and this is what we're seeing play out, and this is what is especially playing out within the New Age quote-unquote spiritual movement, where, as I've already mentioned, they want men to embody their feminine, right? And I've not spent much time within New Age circles because of what I do. It's, you know, as you guys know, I was into Reiki for a little while back in the day, but I never really got into it. But the time that I have spent, I went on a meditation retreat, and I always tell the story of, and I'll share it again for people that haven't heard about it, that I remember back in around 2016, I went on a march. I think it was March Against Monsanto or something like that, and I met this 19-year-old guy, and we got chatting, and he was like a force to be reckoned with. I was blown away. I was like, I can't believe this guy is 19. It wouldn't surprise me if I saw him, you know, on a world stage. He was clued up. He had the passion. He had the fire in his belly. He was, you know, ready to make an impact. And then for a couple of months, I kind of lost contact with him. And then I met up with him again, and he showed up. Underneath his arm, he had all these Eckhart Tolle books and all that. Different person, I'm telling you. Absolute wet lettuce. The male had been beaten out of him. That fire had been absolutely extinguished because he had drunk the New Age Kool-Aid, and he'd taken on all these New Age deceptions, like don't get angry, never, you know, just accept, don't lower your vibration, don't focus on the negative, and all this stuff, all these deceptions that we see and hear about in the New Age. He'd taken all of them on, and it was like he was a different person. I'll never forget it because it was so sad that he had so much potential, and he turned into this wet lettuce, this New Age wet lettuce. And in the end, we kind of we didn't fall out, but we weren't resonating anymore because I was doing my stuff and he'd gone down that route. But that was a first-hand example of the first day that I saw what the New Age was doing to men was really when that happened, because it had wiped out his masculinity, and he turned into this. Yeah, this wet lettuce, basically. And I've met other people and other men within New Age arenas, and they've almost got like, you know, when like you go and shake the hand. I remember I was I was living very short time in like the new age capital of the UK called Brighton. You guys that are my subscribers in the UK will know all about Brighton. It is like the worst. Sorry if you live in Brighton, but it's like the worst place ever, right? It's full of new agers. It's full of like rich people that have moved down from London that are they think they're spiritual, but really they're just in the new age. And in Brighton, they think they have all this freedom, right? They pride themselves on them being like this free-thinking town, right? But it's the town that has the most parking tickets in the UK. It's completely enslaved, right? It's just a rip-off living there. And it's just not free at all. All it is just a town of new agers, right? Not all of them, again, but it's really, it's just an awful place in terms of like the new age community. And I remember one day I was in this park and I got chatting to this guy, and he was telling me he was a Reiki master, and I went to shake his hand, and it was just like a really weak, wet like handshake. And then I was talking to him, and it was just all, I could just feel like it was almost like a yucky, like just completely feminized. And he had like the new age glare, where the lights are on but no one's home. Like he'd really overdosed on the Kool-Aid, and like God knows how many, he must have been a Reiki level 3 or something. But it was all weak, it was all like a haze. And I was like, man, that's not even a man. Like, what is that? It was just like kind of like a decrepit, yucky, like feminine. When a woman's feminine, it's a beautiful thing, right? A woman in her feminine energy is a beautiful thing. A man in his feminine energy is kind of creepy. It's yucky. It's like yuck, right? I mean, I'm not a woman, but I don't know how that would be attractive to women. But apparently it is, because a lot of the new age women like all that stuff. A lot of these new age guys, they use their spirituality. They use it to try and basically get into girls' pants. A lot of them. You hear that a lot on these retreats. I've heard so many stories down the years where a guy was creeping up, and he was using all this spiritual jargon and stuff to get into bed with the girl. I mean, you do you. I know everyone probably has their techniques or whatever, but it just comes across as very disingenuous and very fake. Well, the whole new age is fake anyway. We know that, but there've been first-hand experiences that I have personally lived through where, and I've seen multiple other examples like this as well. So the New Age, via its teachings, via like never get angry, it's all love and light, all this like just think happy thoughts, all this kind of stuff beats the masculine energy out of men. And on top of that, of course, within the New Age scene there's a lot of veganism. Veganism is full of soy. Soy is definitely going to feminize men, right? It just does. And so they know that a lot of people are gravitating towards the New Age. We know, and you guys will know from my videos, that it is the second layer of the matrix. And if you're stuck in the New Age scene, the spiritual scene, you are still stuck in the second layer of the matrix. You are still stuck in a strand of the web. But so they know that people were going to fall into that, which has happened. And so they've made damn sure that they tailor it into a direction that the men will be feminized. And basically a lot of the New Age movement is just full of people that at their core maybe are a little bit cowardice, especially the men, because the men within that scene, they know that something's up, they know that something is wrong with the world. And when you learn about what's wrong with the world, you have two options. You either stay quiet about it or you speak up about it. And so they kind of know something's wrong, but rather than talk about the things that need to be talked about and expose things that need to be exposed, and maybe, you know, face resistance and negative feedback or anything like that. They go down this path of love and light, meditating things away, or thinking that they can meditate things away, and they're out of the game, right? They're out of the game, and it's a win for the Matrix, because these men that could have been embody that warrior spirit that we need right now to stand up and be counted for. We desperately need that right now. We desperately need that. They're now out of the game. They're on the sidelines. They're watching from the dugout. They're not even in the game anymore. That's a win for the Matrix. And I think it's a very important point to bring up, because it's not spoken about too much, but it's a problem. And I hear a lot of women say this that come from the New Age, that the men are being feminized, and that a lot of the men within the New Age are feminine. I'm not saying all of them, again, but it's something that is definitely going on. You know, eat your vegan diet, just you know, get your singing bowls out and do some say some mantras, and I don't know, it's I mean, it's all creepy to me anyway, but I think it just turns men into feminized creeps, basically. I'm just going to tell it how it is. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that forward. Let me know what you think, guys. Let me know what you think if you're still within the New Age and the spiritual scene and you're a man. You know, I'm open to hearing what you have to say about this. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments, guys. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a like. Give me a subscribe, and you can find all my work on my website, transcendingtimes.org. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.